And we are back, Occasion and Purpose fans. You know, I have brought in some awesome people on this show, but apparently you guys are just in love with Josh Lopez and all his many friends. Josh, thank you for coming back. Josh, can you first of all just introduce yourself and also introduce who you have next to me right now?
First of all, my name is Josue, but some people know me by Josh. I'm grateful to be Josh and Carlos' great pal. This is my third rodeo on this show. You guys probably already know me, but we'll cut to the chase. Right here, this guy next to me, he's one of my best friends. I've been knowing him since middle school. We're like this, you know, we're like tight no matter what. Many great things that we did together. We ran out, marathons. We did cross country. We got into the Dodgers Foundation and coaching and helping inner city kids. But what else Carlos does? He's a great guy. Everything he does in life, he puts 100%. He's very passionate about family. He's very passionate about his work ethic, his hobbies in life, his great people in his life. He's down earth guy. You be grateful if you guys know him. So this guy to my left is Carlos Calderon.
Carlos Calderon. Nice to meet you, Carlos.
Nice to meet you, Josh.
The world is here.
Josh 1, Josh 2.
Josh 1, Josh 2. Call me, Josh, what do you call me? McCall?
McCall. Call you
McCall. But you can call me Josh. I don't know. Give me a nickname. I'm not picky.
I'll call you McCall.
Just call me McCall. Yeah, that's a simple
Josh
name.
McCall.
Yeah, Josh McCall. See, it's a ring to it, right? Look, he knows it's a little joke he does.
Which Josh will I call?
Exactly.
You know me by Josue.
I know him.
Everyone calls you
OG.
Yeah. OG. Call him OG Josh or something. Okay. So I guess y'all went to high school. When y'all become friends? Like elementary, middle, like what's up? Like how long have y'all been friends for?
We've been knowing each other since middle school. We didn't get really close until like high school, like 9th grade. Like middle school, we known of each other because we ran the marathon since middle school. However, like we were both on different teams, but we would see each other. Middle school, we would see each other in races for the marathon. And we actually we would see each other. We actually kind of knew each other through like a teacher. He was like our animation teacher. He was really cool.
Shout out Mr. Flying.
Mr. Flying, yeah. and then move on to high school, and that's when we got really close because we were on the same cross country track teams. We would hang out every time during lunch and nutrition. We ran the marathon together. We ran like our fastest marathon in 11th grade. We competed very well in cross country. We're actually part of that team that Hector and I were talking about in the last interview. We were part of that first state team. Mm-hmm. So, we have many great memories together. And then outside of high school and inside of school, we love, going to Dodger games. We love going to go out to run in Griffith Park.
Yeah.
We got involved with the Dodgers Foundation. I became a coach. Carlos was like an intern for the Dodgers. He was a Dodgers RBI ambassador. He would like oversee any inner city kids that need help in baseball and in school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we've just been like brothers like to the end. Like
so Marshall High School, right? What neighborhood is that in?
Like Los Feliz?
Los Feliz, right there by the 5 in the LA River.
Okay.
Grove Park area.
Yeah. So I know that area is known. It's very infamous, for its neighborhood. Many different neighborhoods. What was it like growing up in that neighborhood? First of all.
Yeah, I can take it from here. So I grew up in the neighborhood called like East Hollywood, right on the border of like Silver Lake. Yeah. So that area is actually getting really gentrified right now. So
really
like
gentrified.
Really
just
gentrified.
Over there, it's new apartments and
a lot of
Starbucks,
real estate, a lot of vegan places, a lot of So actually, a lot of the places I would go a lot as a kid are actually closing down simply because like a rent spike and like the business is not the trend anymore. So they're calling for more like trendy foods compared to like low income Latino is they're getting pushed out because of gentrification, things like that. So I grew up in an area whereas it was dominated by actually a lot of gangs. Not to name any, but several gangs around there. So I grew up around several kids around my age that were once I would hang out with them, play around with, like we'd always meet up out on the block, like hanging out with kids, and like several of those kids actually grew up to be affiliated with gangs. And I could have easily become one of those kids simply because like I was affiliated with them and I knew who they were and things like that. But because of sport, because sport has taught me so much, like for example, like meeting Jose because of sport, being able to be the man I am because of sport, being involved in so many sports, whereas like it was able to take me away from not going through that path, because a lot of people in my neighborhood knew me as a kid who was good at sports, and like they would say, oh, look at Carlos, how did your marathon go last week or something like that. Like actual gang members would actually ask me that.
Wow.
Like how did your race go last week, or how did your soccer game go last week? One good example I could give you is I'm very like known in my neighborhood. So like there's this liquor store down the street. It's called La Providencia. Shout out Angel. He's the owner of the liquor store for the past 20 years. Wow. It's a father figure of mine. There's one time when I was down there just getting some like Doritos or something. And there were several gang members there. And they asked me like, oh, when are you going to join the team? And I just stood there like blank. I was like, why would I join you guys? Like I was like 10 years old. Why are you asking me this? And I had told them like, he's never going to join you guys. He's actually going to be someone in life one day. So because of sport and then the other individual, which was my aunt, I was able to not go down that path because I could have easily went down that path because of the surroundings I had, the community I lived in. Which is it's no longer like that anymore. I can tell you that, because if you look at, you know how like Google Maps has like, you have Street View, right? So you can see on Street View how it looked like 10 years ago and how it looks like now. You can see a big difference. Like the tagging is completely gone, the foundation of the houses and things like that.
Let me ask you this. So for a lot of people who don't really, aren't really exposed to growing up in bad environments like the hood, you know, I've lived there myself before. You know, someone that grew up there, born and raised, you know, spent your whole entire life really in that neighborhood. What is it that attracts young people, really young men, into that lifestyle like that you see from your peers?
From what I saw is because one good reason is because they don't like school. They just like to be messing around and like being able to do this thing. Another thing too that I see a lot is that several individuals I grew up with, like they don't have like a family member, like a good family, whereas like a gang can provide that family for you.
Exactly.
So that's what I saw a lot of the kids that I grew up playing with around the block, is that they like to join that because they have a family oriented environment. And be able to have like your homies and things like that, like have your bag and type of stuff like that, because like it was kind of hard because of that. But it's kind of hard to see them like go through down that path. Like, oh wow, like Dionisio used to, like he went down that path, and like I see him every once in a while, and like we just say hi and bye type of thing. But we grew up playing together, and like he sees me who I am now. And he's like, wow, like, oh, you really made it out, or like, I'm glad you didn't go down that path. Which is sometimes that I see some of the kids that I see I grew up with playing with.
You know, I think I know it was for some people in my own family, but sports to them was that escape route.
Exactly.
A lot of people who play, you know, football, baseball, they grow up in those environments, and the fact that they have the opportunity to change their lives just by playing a sport gives them so much to appreciate. Was that the same thing for you as, you know, watching Dodgers or start running cross country? Was that your kind of escape?
Yeah, so I always wanted to play sports since I was a kid. Since I was like 4 years old. I remember my mom would always tell me when I was born, I was kicking the P plate or something like that, and I was kicking it. And then my aunt would literally told her on the spot that your kid's gonna be a karate star, a soccer player one day. He's gonna be into sports. So. And then I actually ended up doing both. I started Taekwondo at the age of 8, and then I did soccer starting at the age of 11. But in the beginning, when I was like 5 or 4, like my mom was really hesitant to put me in sports because she didn't drive. So like she couldn't drive me to practices and things like that. So we had to do a lot of public transportation. So we couldn't find anything that was local because a lot of things are like traveling and like having to go here all across the city. And then I have a mom or dad or aunt that drove. So one day, my mom and aunt were out eating in Los Feliz at this restaurant in Palermo. And there was these like junior cadet like police officers, like trainee officers. There's this cadet program in LA. Whereas you can train as a police officer and being able to teach all codes and be able to and actually train like a police officer. And my aunt went up to them and she was like, "Oh, what is this program?" and things like that. And that's where I got involved with this program called the Police Activities League, which I credit a lot in my life, which has shaped me who I am. So that Police Activities League is like a program that LAPD has all across all LAPD stations.
Yeah.
That creates a bridge between police officers and kids and sports.
Yeah.
So police officers actually are coaching soccer teams. They're actually coaching karate. They're actually coaching marathon teams, which I was involved in.
Yeah.
So because of that, it actually made me who I am and not to be able to go to that path that I was telling you about. Because I grew up with police officers and they were providing me guidance and mentorship. A lot of police officers were actually my mentors growing up and telling me what's right or wrong. So they taught me what right or wrong was.
That's awesome.
So, that's how definitely sports was an escape because I was always focused on sports. I've always said this, like I had a tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Whereas everything around the tunnel, outside of the tunnel, was not paying attention. So I just had a tunnel vision, which was just sport and school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, especially, unfortunately in this political climate, that a lot of people seem to have fear, especially associated with people, who do that type of work, who are police officers. But you see time and time again that these are the people who are investing into communities who lack that guidance or that mentorship, And just speaking of mentorship, I think a lot of people always neglect their own personal family, who is in their life right now. Who was that mentor for you and your family that kind of helped you get you on that path? I remember you kind of mentioned, so your mom and your aunt, how much of an impact were they for you?
Yeah, that person is actually my aunt. She unfortunately passed away on November 30th from COVID.
Yeah.
Truly was a parental figure of mine. I was fortunate enough to grow up with an aunt that lived with me for all my 20 years of my life.
Wow.
And she was a true parental figure of mine, whereas I grew up actually with two moms. Obviously, my dad was in the picture too, but I grew up with my mom and aunt, but my aunt was literally like my mom. That was also my mom's roll dog. Like, they did everything together. I never saw them fight.
Yeah.
But my aunt actually went to LACC. She actually moved here from El Salvador when she was 16.
Wow.
And she went to Hollywood High for 2 years. Then she went back to El Salvador and she came back. And she went to LACC for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then she unfortunately had to start working and be able to have an income. So she wasn't able to graduate from Cal State Dominguez Hills. But she was the one who pursued me to be successful in life. She wanted me to be successful in life.
She pushed you there.
Yeah, so she's the one who pushed me to do sports, to not go down the wrong path. She's the one who taught me to speak English. She always told me you have to learn Spanish because it's going to benefit you one day.
Yeah.
Because like having being bilingual in this country is really
amazing. Yeah.
And I would hate it. I would be like, people make fun of me because I speak Spanish, and she would always tell me like, you're gonna regret not learning Spanish, and you're gonna actually appreciate it one day.
Yeah.
I remember she taught me the timetables like when I was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
She taught me timetables when I was in kindergarten. Like, you learn timetables like in 3rd grade, I guess, or something.
She's getting you ready.
Yeah, and actually, she was like a parental figure of mine. Like she was such a great person. Like, she's the one who shaped who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
I have this dictionary that I have right by my room, and she would give me knowledge for my birthdays. Mm-hmm. I have this dictionary right there, and it says like, it's signed by her, and it says like, oh, this is a gift to you for your fountain of knowledge. Yeah. And actually, Josue too, like, he just lost his aunt too. Like, this is something that me and him have in common, that Josue's aunt actually lived above him for all his life. So like, we both had aunts that were like parental figures of ours. Wow. And we're very fortunate enough to have that. And like, other than your mom, obviously your mom is like your mom, but being able to have someone else who was a parental figure, be able to provide you guidance, be able to provide you advice. Yeah. She was just an amazing person. I truly miss her every day.
A lot of people are going through. It's amazing how you two are sharing kind of the same hurt right now. The same time. So I can imagine there are millions of people who are going through the same type of loss. How are you coping, both of y'all, with this? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, for me, it was difficult. People that don't know, like, my aunt passed away on 10 days after my birthday, February 18th, and it's been tough. Like, the same relationship Carlos had with his aunt, I had the same relationship. Like, my aunt pretty much raised me to the man I am today, and she pretty she was actually, I was fortunate enough that she filled in the void of not having a father. You know, my mom and my aunt raised my brother and I, the men that we are today. You know, I miss my aunt very dearly. You know, she taught me to be a good person, to always see the good in everyone, to always be loved, and to always be kind. You know, like it's crazy. Like today I learned that my aunt, like, she even talked about how she really wanted to see my kids. Like, I didn't know that. My mom told me that today, and I was you know, it gives me goosebumps because I wanted that. I wanted my aunt to see, you know, my career, my kids, and everything. You know, and she's still here. I know she's still in here spiritually, but I miss her every day. Like, in the first week, it was hard. Like, we still have keys to her apartment unit, and whenever I walk in, I just break down because I could still smell her. I could still feel like she's here, you know. But lately, like the past few days, it's been getting easier. I feel like, I don't know, something's in me that just, and then that's for my family and I. We've been having the same feeling where, I don't know, maybe she's here somewhere and she just put that feeling in us that we'll be okay. That she wants us to be okay. She wants us to be strong and keep moving forward. And one last few things that she told about me that I didn't know about this. My cousin told me this. I think it was one of her last few words. She was telling me that she was proud that I got this bartending job, and I didn't know that. That surprised me. I'm like, wow, you know, I'm glad she knew one great thing that was going on in my life. I really hope also she knows that I got accepted to all these schools because I know she really cared about, you know, my education, cared about my life, what's going on. What I liked about her is that she would always bring up Carlos or any friend that she knew that, you know, ask him, like, she would always ask me, oh, how they're doing and this and that. Like, even people that are not in my life right now or people who I haven't spoken to in a long time, she would always ask. Like, she always put others first. You know, she was always like a mother figure to everyone, and I always saw her as like a second mom. You know, especially like Carlos said, she lived like right above me. You know, I live in apartment unit 4 and she would live in unit 6. You know, so it's gonna be a tough and hard transition to, you know, to see other people living in that apartment unit. You know, because for like holidays, for birthday parties, for family reunions, we would always reunite in my aunt's apartment. You know? So it's gonna be a tough transition, you know, to not have that. You know, but I know she wants me to stay strong and all of us. You know, but it's a hard, you know, feeling because it's like probably like one of our first in my family, one of our first like big family hit. You know, but you know, it's tough. You know, it's tough, and people that don't know, she did pass away due to cancer. So one thing I do hope that in my lifetime they find a cure for cancer, because it's a deadly disease. Like, people shouldn't go through that, especially good people like my aunt. And the same thing with COVID. You know, Carlos' aunt does not deserve that. You know, they're a great, strong, beautiful woman. You know, what I see in my aunt and with Carlos' aunt and a lot of people is that they were strong women. No matter what disease brought them down, they were always strong. They were always there for themselves, and especially for their loved ones and for their families. You know, I was fortunate enough to meet Carlos' aunt a couple of times, and she was a great woman. Like, one of the few times that I met her she was actually waiting for us when we finished the Marvel's Avenger half marathon at Disneyland.
Wow.
You know, that was a great memory.
You guys did it together?
Yeah, we did it
together. Wow.
Yeah, and then after that we went to IHOP. You know, Carlos' aunt and mom are great people. You know, and they're like, I could see that family vibe. You know, but yeah, it's overall it's a hard feeling. I'm glad to have Carlos in my life, that, you know, we could connect to that. You know, we're there for each other, and then I'm fortunate to have a lot of friends who are there for me. Friends that you would not expect them to be there for you. You know, like I started like a GoFundMe page for my aunt for like the memorial funds. You know, I had people who I don't even speak to, like friends like I have like on Facebook where I met in high school that donated money. You know, I'm honestly blessed, and you know, one day I'm gonna repay them. That's why I feel like it's always good to, you know, give back to your community. Like, in the future, that's what I want to do, is give back and help as many people as I can. Possible. You know, because especially times like this, people who lose loved ones, you know, you really got to be there for them. You know? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about you, Carlos?
Yeah. One good way I'm coping with is it's just by being strong for my mom. Trying to be as strong as possible, because that my aunt was literally her road dog. Like,
Yeah.
everything did together. They want to go to the supermarket. They go together. They're gonna go file their taxes. They're gonna go do it together.
Yeah.
Everything. And then the last couple months, they actually they would actually like sleep together. I mean, like they would like always be together. Like they were sister and sister from the same mother and dad.
Yeah.
Came to the country at the same time, and always be together. So the way I'm coping with it is just being strong for my mom.
Yeah.
One good thing that mom passed away knowing that we would be okay. She passed away at a time whereas I had already graduated from college. I already had my career,
Yeah.
my full-time career, and I was already starting to be happy.
Yeah.
And she left knowing that I was able to take care of my family because my aunt was actually a big, not provider, but a big supporter of the family, the household, because she worked 15 years for the county. She was a social worker, actually. She was the person who an individual would apply for benefits, and she would be the person that would interview the individual if the person gets benefits or not.
Benefits, okay.
And even during the pandemic, she did not want to work from home.
Yeah.
She wanted to be there because she loved her job so much, even though every day there was like homeless people like cussing at her, saying stupid things like. But she just absolutely loved her job because like she loved helping people every day, being able to help them in any way they can because of like people need benefits, people need food stamps, people need health insurance.
Yeah.
So she was the one, whereas like if anything came in like government related or like we need like benefits or things like that or like health insurance.
Yeah.
Especially with my dad, who is actually sick right now. He has congestive heart failure. Right before she would pass away, she was applying for him for health insurance because he got kicked out of his old health insurance because of his job because he's disabled now. So she passed away at a time where like the application was halfway finished, and like,
wow,
I have to step in now and like take on like adult responsibilities as a 22-year-old. Like I have no freaking idea about health insurance. I don't know how the system works. I don't know anything about Medi-Cal. I don't know anything about Obamacare or like anything like that.
Now because you have to read up on it.
Yeah, I have to learn so much, and like it makes me so sad because I wish my aunt was here because if I had a question I can ask her because she was like the expert.
She's the expert. She knows.
And then I have to be strong for my mom because I have to take care of my mom and dad. I have to do adult responsibilities such as paying bills now, paying all these type of things to take care of the household. So that's how I'm actually coping with it, along with like making sure that I'm still aligned with my career and with my hobbies. So one thing I'm coping with is I'm doing all the things that mom would have wanted me to do. So I'm doing things for her because like she was the one who would always buy me like Hot Wheels, would always buy me like PSP games of like autocross racing, motocross racing, and like she would always like fuel my hobby. She would always fuel my sport. So right now I'm taking on the hobby of like motorcycling. So I'm riding dirt bikes, I'm riding supermoto, mini moto, and all that stuff. So that is actually something that's keeping me distracted and always doing it for her. Like everything that I have, all my dirt bikes and my motorcycles, I have etched her name on it, or like Dia with a heart. With Dia means that aunt. Yeah. So, and my suit, I have her name on it. So everything I carry around her, she's always with me. Yeah. She's always with me. She's protecting me in everything that I do. So that's how I'm coping with it, as well as being able to have like a supportive stem of like branches around me. Yeah. So many people around me, such as Josue, who I'm able to connect with about this so easily. Yeah. And as well as like my group of friends, they always like asking me if I'm okay, if I'm how am I coping with it. Yeah. And I remember when I first posted that my aunt had passed away, like people that I didn't even talk to anymore, like things like that were reaching out asking me if I'm okay, like how am I coping with it and things like that, which was super like helpful because it actually helped me. And I didn't want to go through a depressive state because she would have not wanted me to go through that. And I've gone through like a depressing state in the past, and because of those hardships that I have in the past, was able to be able to understand how to deal with it, because the way how I dealt with it, like the depressive state that I had in the past, like in 2019, was not a good way to take care of it. And so she passed away in a time that she knew that I can actually not go through a depressive state, because he learned from what he had in the past and like be able to take care of it, because I could have easily locked myself in my room and like start crying every day and like not want to be the person I am
Knock
anymore.
yourself out.
But I had to be strong and be an adult and be a man and actually take care of my family and things like that.
You know, I think if you don't mind, it's very important that we address real quickly that kind of stuff because, again, like I said before, people are going through this, but they may not be as wiser as you and Josh. You know, what was, if you don't mind, you know, explaining, you know, what was the roughest stage that you had to experience, especially with being sad or depressed because of some great disaster that happened around you? Like, how did you get out of that?
Yeah, so I was in a relationship for 5 years, and like she was like a roll dog too. I mean, my first love, and I didn't know how to take care of it. Like I just didn't know how to handle it because it was like my first relationship, and it was a long-term relationship. It was like from when I was like a teenager, 15 years old, to like when I was an adult, 21 years old.
I had a lot of friends in that,
and
that
also,
was in that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I was also going through the hardship as well as like my dad getting sick. He's been a healthy man all his life, and he got congestive heart failure, which means he has a lot of fluid buildup in his heart and his lungs. Yeah. So that makes him have shortness of breath, and have a lot of bloating in his stomach and his legs. So I was going through that thinking that my dad was gonna die, and with the hardship of a breakup. Yeah. So I went through a really bad depressive state where I was like, I didn't want to go to work anymore because I worked for the Dodgers, so that's where actually we would spend a lot of time together at Dodger Stadium. So like I didn't want to go there anymore because it reminded me of her, as well as what was happening at home. Yeah. Started losing weight as I wasn't actually not running. I was just like not eating and things like that. Yeah. And it was just tough, and then also too like just not wanting to do things that you used to do anymore. Like it's just like not having no sense of energy. Yeah. Not even wanting to go to work. So I had to go through. I had to get an income somewhere somehow. So, I was just going to. I absolutely loved my job at the Dodgers, at the Dodgers Foundation. I absolutely loved it. Yeah. Whereas when I was going through that stage, it was more of having to go to work not because you love it, just because I had to get an income, just because I needed to have money.
That's the only reason why I'm here.
And that's why it was like really hard. And like my aunt was really through it. There were times where I would just, you know, where Angeles Crest is at.
Angeles Crest, yeah.
Yeah, it's just this view like where like there's like no signal, and this is where I would go. And like I would have always drive there and like be up there by myself and like think about like what's going on at home with my dad and like what I was going through. And there was no signal, and like my aunt would always be calling me like, "Where you at? Why aren't you coming home?" Yeah. And I actually still have those voicemails that I listen to all the time. Wow. I actually save those voicemails. Yeah. Yeah. She was just always there, like making sure that I was happy, making sure that that I was okay, and making sure that I was, most of all, I was happy. She would do anything for me. Like I remember one time, if I could going, we went to Target in West Hollywood, and like. I really wanted an iPod Touch, and we get to the register. Yeah. Her card gets declined, and I just started crying, like, "Oh, I wanted an iPod Touch," but she would just do anything for me. Like the next day, she found some way or somehow to get me that iPod Touch, and like my mom too. Like right now, I'm actually getting into like motocrossing and like motorcycling and everything like that because of my two friends, Aaron and Ryan. Shout out Aaron and Ryan. But when I was growing up, I always wanted to do that, but I was never actually able to afford it. Yeah. Because it's a really expensive sport. Mm-hmm. There was this one time when my grandma, she was a dialysis patient, and we would always pick her up Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays right after school, elementary school, me and my aunt and my mom. And there was always these magazines where I was like, they had like summer camps and things like that. I remember one time I asked my aunt, like, "Oh, can you send me to ATV dirt bike summer camp?" Yeah. She went through everything. She went through the application and everything like that. And like at the end, she told me, "Oh, we can't afford it." So that's where I'm going to now. Like, you know how I'm getting into this now? She left at a time where I was like, she knew that I could take care of myself and I could take care of my family. I'm able to do my hobbies now, or like do everything on my own. So that's like she took her last breath knowing that
you're on that path.
Yeah. And she was just a parental figure, like I can't say like.
No, I think if you don't mind me speaking, I think that I remember I volunteered, right, and I was a mentor to these high school students in this classroom, and I remember every word I had to say to them, they were, you know, instinctively listening, you know, knowing that there's no greater feeling when you're affecting young people. when you're some authority and you're actually changing these kids' lives, right? When I got that feeling, to me it gave me life. To know that I have a purpose, and what I learned from the people that taught me, I can put it in them. You know, when I first, you know, you saying you were 22 and you didn't have you don't have the experience of, you know, helping somebody with, you know, Medicare or something. I remember when I came to Los Angeles, I was 18 when I came to here, and I had nobody. I didn't have any experience. I didn't know Spanish. You know,
Still don't.
Still don't. That's me being ignorant, but oh well. But you know, and I was very lost and confused. But I knew that I had a purpose here, right? I remember my mom telling me, no, like, you can do this. You have to believe in yourself. And when I figured it out, I had to realize that it was from people like Josh Lopez. You know, he was one of the first people I ever met in Los Angeles was Jalen. I remember he even said it. I was walking out work and he just says, hey, you know, he's like, you know, he wanted to have a conversation, you know? And like, I was, oh man, this guy must be cool. His name is Josh, you know? And I think the best part about life is that, you know, you're never going to go through this alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me to see that you have that connection with Josh. Josh has a connection with you that no matter how hard things get, you're in the good hands, like you said. You know, you're fighting this battle with family, with your best friend, and now no one can take that pain because they are sharing it with you.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can finally come to somebody because I'm not alone. That's just awesome to me. And that's why I feel like, you know, I want to go back to you, like thinking about your job with the Dodgers Foundation, thinking about you running, you know, you're finally going to be that mentor to somebody. You know, you get to change people's lives every single day. Now, I assume that's what your aunt wanted, right?
Yeah, actually, the way how I invested into the Dodgers Foundation, because as I told you, like, I was a PAL kid, police activities kid. So I grew up a lot of within nonprofits, within organizations that help out low income individuals and kids to provide them with a bridge of sport and provide them as a hook to be able to have sports-based youth development. So I grew up in that program because of my aunt, obviously. Yeah. So that's how I became a soccer coach. Mm-hmm. I became a soccer coach with this program called Up to Us, which Josue was a part of within the Dodgers Foundation. But I was more involved with a branch of in the soccer branch. Yeah. So I actually went back to my former nonprofit when I was in college and started coaching kids. Yeah. I started coaching kids soccer, and I was able to provide. It was pretty cool to provide them mentorship, where I was like telling them whether right or wrong, or like provide them like mentorship in the way of sport, like for telling them like this is how like sport was the way I was able to get out. You can do it too. Sport was the way you can make friendships. Like, you have this friend here, like, be friends with him for your whole life. Yeah. Because you met him through sport. Same thing with my friends. I met Jose because of sport. I met my friends Abel, David, Aaron, Ryan, Alfredo, all that group of six guys of us. Yeah. All because of sport, because we all met in karate, soccer, or friends of friends. So because of sport. So providing that mentorship to those kids and telling them that you can make really good friendships and have a good lifestyle, a successful life because of sport is something I was always mentoring them on. Yeah. Shout out to one of the kids that I would coach is Melody. Melody was an all-star soccer player. Mm-hmm. She was an all-star soccer player, and then I would tell her about my stories about how how much this program shaped me, and I would always want her to have the same ambitions as I was as a kid, knowing that with sport that you can be someone in life and have be able to go down a good path. Exactly. As well as with many other kids too, like for example like Charlie, Jordan, all those kids and then so that's what led me to be able to work for the Dodgers Foundation. At the Dodgers Foundation, which is it has a partnership with Up to Us Sports, which I was in the program with. Yeah. Which was Josue was in. Okay. I was able to get an internship with the Dodgers Foundation as a youth programs associate. That's
so awesome.
So at the Dodgers Foundation, their youth programs branches from like Dodgers RBI, which stands for Reviving Baseball in Inner Cities, which provides baseball and softball resources for kids in lower income neighborhoods. So for example, like South Central, Inglewood, East LA. We at the time when I left, they had 85 locations all across the city of Los Angeles, and we were baseball is a really expensive sport. You got the bat, you got the gloves, you got the duffel bag, you got the baseballs, you got the what else you
got the coach, you know. I got a price tag too.
and then
this guy.
No.
This guy is probably charging for lessons right there. Some bogus lessons.
You want to get faster? $50.
No, but Carl has a point. Yeah, baseball is an expensive sport.
Yeah.
He had all the numbers.
Yeah.
But we were to provide baseball and softball resources at a really low price, and all provided by the Dodgers Foundation.
Yeah.
Being able to get 2 jerseys, a home and away jersey that say Dodgers on it.
Yeah.
Have access to many events such as Dodgers, which is community field festivals where you get educated on several resources that you have in your city.
That's awesome.
College access tours that would help organize. What else do we have? Fitness clinics in partnership with the Lakers Foundation. We also had
That's amazing.
several things, even financial literacy classes in partnership with Bank of America.
Wow.
So I was deeply involved within the coordination and the program measurement of that program, which served 10,000 kids in the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So what I helped within the Dodgers Foundation is provide a more data-informed culture, along with my manager and good mentor of mine, James Lopez, who was the manager of strategy and impact at the Dodgers Foundation. I was able to provide a data-informed culture of how do we use the data that we're collecting for this program to be able to provide a better program for these kids, as well as being able to report to funders, being able to provide grantors, or even the general Los Angeles community on how much this program is affecting these kids.
Yeah.
Because baseball, we use baseball as a hook, baseball and softball event as a hook to be able to provide the same way I was provided with sport as a hook to be able to go through a good path.
Yeah.
What I really loved about that job is that every day I would see kids that were once what I was once. A kid who grew up in a nonprofit, lower income neighborhood, and using sport as a gateway of getting away from school, getting away from what's happening at home, and what's going on around the community, around the neighborhood. So I saw that in every kid that I served within my 3 years at the Dodgers Foundation, and it was actually a humbling experience because that's actually something that was really humbling to me. Yeah. Which led me to my career now, which is I'm a business analyst now for this company called League Apps.
Okay.
So League Apps is a company, a nationwide program. A company that provides registration services for example, for the Dodgers Foundation. All these kids needed somewhere to register for these kids, right?
Yeah.
So they needed to register on this platform called League Apps, which is a sports tech software that provides registration for sports teams for every single sport you can imagine.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I work as a business analyst now. So I'm handling key performance measurement of the company, as well as providing analysis, as well as operations, all data management across within the whole company.
Okay.
As well as being able to provide insight on how customer success is going, how finance is going, how marketing is going, things like that. So that actually, because that position I have now is because of sport. If it wasn't sport, if I've never got involved in sport, then I would never be where I am today. And so that's what leads me to, so how do I want to give back? So one goal that I have in the future is actually creating my own foundation. I know Josue has ambitions in that too, but my foundation would be more based upon providing kids that want to play at a higher level, such as club level, or club soccer or club baseball, or travel leagues and things like that. Being able to provide scholarships, because that's one experience that I never had as a kid, because I believe that many of Division One NCAA players and things like that, the reason why they're playing at Division One is because they had that income to be able to play for travel teams, club teams. It's very expensive. You should see all the data on that. Actually, I did an essay in college at CSUN for my sports philosophy or sports psychology, or sports sociology class, sociology for sport, about what are the chances of being able to play for a D1 school. And in that report, I stated,
what's the numbers on that?
I wish I had the essay on me, but I literally had all the numbers there. How many out of 100? How many played club baseball, or how many played travel team? How many played at an academy, compared to how many just play recreational?
Because it's almost required. Almost, if you want to play D1 and you're not traveling, you're playing competitive traveling. Unless you're really good at high school, it's hard.
Yeah. And also too, even I did the club versus high school type of thing. Sometimes you can play for high school, you could be the all-star,
Yeah.
But they won't see you as an all-star simply because of the league you're playing in.
Yeah,
the league you're playing in it hurts you.
Yeah.
And also too, the being able to be exposed. Some high schools, like, you could be the all-star player in the high school, but the high school doesn't take you to tournaments. They don't take you to, or you don't make it far in playoffs where, like, there's where those scouts are.
Yeah.
So I actually want to start my foundation one day when I have the stepping stones to get there.
Of course.
Whereas I provide scholarships for low-income kids who have potential to become very successful in their sport, being able to play for, like, club teams, travel teams, and it would be like a interview basis where I was like, I providing scholarships where I was like, how much do you really want it, as well as providing documentation on what your income levels and things like that, and as well as recommendations on, like, I would like to partner with many recreational leagues, whereas, like, you can submit nominations and things like that to be able to, and as well as partner with the club and travel teams. Partnering with, like, okay, we're gonna give you 3 kids within this club team, and they're going to be completely covered for a whole year.
That's amazing.
And that's something that I really want, because I never had the opportunity. I did have the opportunity once when I was trying out for the Chivas USA was a former MLS team here in California, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And they had a club academy program. I got into the academy program. And I was just not able to play in it because it was just expensive.
Yeah.
My mom, my dad, they tried to do everything they could, but they just couldn't. 1, because they didn't drive. 2, because it was really expensive, and 3, all the uniforms, the airfare, and things like that. I just couldn't do it, and that's what I could believe. Like, what if I would have done that? Maybe I could have been better at soccer. Maybe I could have done club running when I was in middle school and elementary school. I could have been, like, for example, Philip Rocha. He was like one of the top, many of the top runners. They were running since they were like 5 or 6 because they were doing club. They were doing because they have the funds to be able to do those type of things.
You didn't start running
till high school, because that's where. Same thing with soccer. I didn't start getting to play competitive soccer. I was just playing recreational before that. I didn't start getting to play competitive soccer until I got into high school, because that's for free. Yeah. So I want to provide the opportunity for
kids need those resources
to have those resources. So that's something that's very dear to me, and be able to provide, give back to my community.
That's awesome. You know, I have my brother. He played basketball, competitive basketball. It's called AAU. If you want to go to the NBA and you're playing basketball, you have to play for the AAU, which is an organization that's traveling, basketball, and the financial burden of getting a hotel, driving to Florida, Mississippi. I was in the South, so southern regions, but California would be, Nevada, San Francisco, Washington, those things are expensive, and I feel like kids are they kind of lose, not even interest, but they lose that desire to dream those dreams. And I think we need organizations and people like that to put that into kids, and I think that's the best part about you with the Dodgers. You were able, to do that, and you are continuing to do that more. If you could tell, I did this the last podcast, I'm gonna ask the same question. If you could tell a young person any advice, because I know for my brother it was hard and he gave up, because he lost that desire to fight for what he wanted because of the economic status that we lived in, or the money we didn't have. So knowing you and knowing all the things you could take back, what would you tell a young person, a kid in high school right now who wants to do that but is barred by the limitations of his surroundings? What would you tell him?
Yeah, I would tell him the advice that my aunt would always give me. Everything you start, you must finish, or you must finish it until you can't no more. Yeah. So I would tell him, if you start playing high school soccer, or you start playing club and you want to get really good at it, you started it, right? Keep going at it until you can't no more. Until you can't no more, until you can't no more. Or you can finish it. When finishing means getting to your goals, meeting your goals. So that's one thing I'll tell them. Everything you start, you must finish.
Yeah. Well, Carlos, I thank you so much for coming to this show, man. I am in awe of your character, right? I'm in awe of your story, and I don't know if I'll say this again, but we need more people like you in this world. I believe that you went through the things that you went through because you have the experience and the will to change people's lives, and you need to start voicing and doing the things that you've said, because, man, you are a special person.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I know your aunt, Josh, same to you. I know that your family is just proud of the men you are today, man. I know I am. I just met you. So I couldn't, I'll be buying you dirt bikes if I had the money too, and I'm a complete stranger, so, any last words or any thank yous you want to say to anybody before we call?
Yeah. Well, one thing too I want to point out is, going through everything that's been happening right now, one key person that's really helping me with everything and being such a huge support on my back is my girlfriend.
Yeah.
My girlfriend Sophia, such a wonderful person. She's so supportive in everything that I do, and was always asking if I'm okay. Every single day she's asking me, "Are you okay?" So, yeah, I mean, she's down for everything, and like she just supports me so much. Whereas like when my aunt passed away at 1:36 in the morning, she zoomed it straight to my house to be there for me, and the amount of support that she gives is why I'm able to deal with everything that I'm supposed to deal with. Like, for example, that's everything that's going on at home, because I'm able to have someone whereas I can go to and if anything, as well as all the people that are around me. It's just great to have a great support system. It's something very beneficial to have. I'm very grateful to have, and I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. Wow. Josh, any last words, my friend?
I'm beyond grateful and happy to have Carlos in my life, like friends that instead of putting me down, they kind of level me up to be more success. I'm grateful to have you, Josh, in my life. I'm grateful to have Hector in my life. Grateful to have, so many friends in my life that I want to surround myself with people like that who are very career driven, very like-minded, like myself, who want to do more, in this world than just a paycheck, who wants to impact people in a positive way, because I could see with Carlos' family that raised him, to be the person he is today, that gives back to the community. And the same thing with you, Josh. Like, I don't know your parents. Like, I've seen them from, from far away, and I could tell that you were raised, by great people that care so much about people that they don't even know, like that's how my aunt was. Like, she didn't personally know Carlos, but she cared about what he was doing. She would ask me, how is he doing? Is he still running? This and that. And to those people out there who think they're alone, they're not alone. They're not alone. Josh, you've helped me so much in my life, where I thought I was alone, but you have those great people around you,
Exactly.
And it feels great, it feels awesome. It feels great that there's people out there that's rooting for you. They're on your side, and I like that. People should surround themselves with like-minded people that are, like I said, career driven, who think highly about themselves, who think highly about their future, and I'm beyond grateful and proud, and also with my family, we're out here rooting for each other. I just had a feast with them, I feel like our families we're getting closer. I have a small family, but it feels like I have an adventure family.
I love that.
But yeah, I'm glad I brought Carlos. I'm glad I brought Hector.
I'm happy you guys came, man.
We all know each other.
Yeah, maybe it's funny because I brought Hector, then I brought Carlos. That's 3 of our state team. So there's 4 other guys.
Well, tell them to come on
so
in.
Maybe they I bring one by one.
Probably a reunion right there.
Reunion. Yeah. What is it? 2014 is when we won, right?
2014. Yeah.
We were 2021.
Man, that team.
It was a 7-year anniversary.
So we need to get all of them.
I'm not even going to talk about anything about that because Josh already went through all that in the last episode.
Yeah,
but man, I just want to touch on that. I'm just going to touch on that for 1 second. But yeah, that team was like,
we're the best, baby.
Not chill out. No, it was like a very cohesive team. Whereas we were not just competing against each other. We were always just like one good thing I want to say, like the Spurs, like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Team Duncan, they were like a family. Like,
they were a unit.
Yeah. If one falls, then everybody falls.
Exactly.
And if someone's faster than me and passes me in the race, I'm not gonna be trying to pass him. Oh, it's better for the team. If he passes, it's better, more points for us.
Yeah.
It was just such a cohesive team. Whereas we all relied on each other. We were all bonded. Yeah. And it was just such a great time that I always talk about with everyone that I know. It's like that 2014 team. I mean,
something about
Shit,
it.
we need to get that reunion right here.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's funny actually. I know maybe we're gonna end this, but we're keep going.
No, you're
but,
fine.
But one of our teammates was Michael, the guy we mentioned last time in Hector. He actually messaged me about your video. He said he watched your video, the whole thing, and he loved it because he loved what me and Hector talked about. What we talked about him. His name is Michael Merchant. Maybe one day.
Well, Michael, if you ever watch this, I hope you do. We would love to have you on this couch and the whole team. Really, really do. I'm not a big sports guy. I actually was told to stay far away from sports because sports is in my situation. My brother played sports and he was a very sportsy guy, and so he just wanted to allow me to be a normal student. He wanted to just help me out in any way, shape, or form. So. But I love sports. I love basketball. I love football. That's my passion. I just never played it. Well, I played it, but in little doses. So I love athletes. I love student athletes. I love athletes in general. I love students who play sports because it's a part of me. It really is. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, please come on the show.
Wait, so can you pull it off? Like us 7 and you and this couch?
Let me get a table. So, yeah, we'll pull it off.
We need to find Isaac.
I can pull it off.
Yeah.
Tell them all to come. Yeah. Tell them all to come. We'll do a big reunion.
They probably get Richard McCardle on this too.
I know, right? It's gonna be a joke story.
That'll be a good one.
That'll be a good one. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Please, reach out to these young gentlemen and ask questions and learn because their story is amazing. It inspired me tonight. I hope it inspires you. Thank y'all for coming, and we'll see y'all next time.
Peace.